Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our interview with Matt Swalley. Matt is a co-founder and chief business officer at Omnik, an AI marketing technology platform that generates and optimizes personalized ad creatives at scale. Matt, welcome to our Risk Management Show podcast. I know you're mostly working in the marketing in a creative agency, but maybe there is always a cross-border information that will help people working in other industries as well.
Sure, Boris. Thank you so much for having me. Really excited. We have a lot we can discuss here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Specifically, I believe that we will have a thoughtful conversation on the topic of emerging channels and the shortened attention span of consumers. But we can do more on AI in marketing that you specialize in and other topics. But before that, let's discuss what your career. Let us know what is your career path was and how did you come to where you are right now and what you guys and Omniki are up to these days.
Great. So I am Chief Business Officer and a co-founder of Omnik. Omnik is an artificial intelligence powered marketing platform that uses data and analytics, whatever you can pull in from what's driving clicks, leads, or purchases. And we use creative insights that help fuel higher performing digital ads for all these different places. In my career, I've been here 2.5 years now, joined Hikari Senju, who's the founder CEO, who thought of this idea in 2018. He knew Gen AI was going to get to the point it is today, and that data and analytics would be the key to unlocking the scale effect for AI. And so we were ahead of the game there. And I joined. My story is a little bit different. I spent 13 years at a Fortune 10 company for many of those years at AT&T. And then now I'm at an early stage startup. So I did a lot of different things at AT&T, from leading sales teams to 2 years in corporate strategy and being a chief of staff at AT&T for the global business sector. And I got really excited about AI and disruptive companies during my corporate strategy days, my last 2 years at AT&T. And I made this jump. I was like, I really want to go to a company that has a great vision and can make a huge impact. And really, my efforts would be substantial in the growth. And that's what I joined Omnik 2.5 years ago. And it's been a great ride. And it's been even more fun as all these new AI technologies are coming out every single week. We're building our own internally. And then also I get to use all the ones that are open source on a daily basis.
Wow, interesting. So let us know how I imagine technologies, channels such as social media platforms and streaming services reshaping the way businesses engage with consumers in today's fast-paced digital landscape. I know people working with all major social platforms, but from your professional point of view, what are the topics?
Boris, we have now reached a time where most individuals are spending 8.5 hours a day online. So in my early days, when I led sales teams that were direct sales, you would call and email and do these other activities. And that would be major business development efforts outside of the other realms. Well, today, digital has to be your base. And when I say that is you have much quicker learnings across digital, and you can reach hundreds of thousands to millions of people very, very rapidly. So if you have a new business idea, a new product, or you really want to learn, you can go tell your story in a bunch of different ways and learn what is actually resonating with your different audiences and ideal customers. And that's going to drive greater leads, greater clicks. And it's a constant iteration of learning. And those learnings on digital can be spread to your other channels of growth, like your direct sales team. It's a much faster process, but digital has to be the base. And then the other thing you mentioned was the shortened attention span of consumers. So it's crazy, but people are going from mobile app to website to Meta to Google to TikTok to LinkedIn. They could be going 15 different places in 2 hours. And historically, Meta and Google own most of the market. Well, today, business strategies for marketing need to be an omni platform view of going to test all these different channels and finding out what's the best return, and continually working a complementary strategy across these instead of putting all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm. So in what ways can brands leverage this uh, uh, kind of dynamic and specifically maybe creative modeling and storytelling and narrative techniques to create more engaging content that resonates with people in the trade to buy the product?
Yeah, historically, a lot of enterprise has 4-month planning cycles or more for creative, for campaigns, for marketing. So
Mhm.
imagine what all can happen in 4 months. A lot. Something in the news can directly positively impact your business or negatively impact it. The whole market could change at this point in 4 months. Like a new technology comes out and you've been working on the strategy for a campaign. So what AI enables now is you could have, let's just say, a product or service, and you could have 10 different audiences you care about located at different geographies across the world that have different language needs. Well, AI can take these different, and our platform actually takes these different dynamic elements like your products, your services, your customer profiles, your locations, the dimensions and product, like the platforms where you distribute, and it creates lots of creative options for each of those audiences and more greater personalized that then gets distributed more effectively. And Boris, one thing I wanted to mention that we were chatting about before this was, as cookies tracking becomes more and more regulated and there's GDPR, California Data Protection Act, personal information is locked up by the platforms. Like, let's talk about Meta, Google, all that. So they know the personal information of the end user. A lot of businesses have first party data. Well, now some of the most powerful marketing with cookieless tracking and everything is creative becomes the major lever for distribution. So Boris, like, the platforms know what you like. Meta knows what you've been looking at, what you've liked. It's going to send you a whole bunch of ads that are similar to what your likes are. And for a company that's looking to advertise, if you don't have a creative that aligns with all those end users, it's not distributed as effectively. So it went from this very granular targeting back 10 years ago with learning from cookies and that form to now some of the most powerful marketing is just using the platform algorithms and fueling it with the right types of ad creatives. And it takes potentially hundreds or thousands of creatives depending on how big your company is.
Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, specifically in Europe, they are now developing legislation to ban this website banner cooking cooks cookies to prevent just capturing this data that people don't want to share anymore. But just for my understanding, as I am running also kind of social platform, but niche online community, what are the best practices you can share with us for our community ride this topic or this trend?
So content is king today. So you have to test lots of different content. So one of the things is called multivariate creative testing. It means testing a whole lot of messaging from short form video to long form video to images that align with your community, and then learning from what's actually driving engagement. And across social media, there's a number. On the paid side, there's clicks, purchases, or lead inputs. On the organic side, where you're just broadcasting your brand, you can track reshares, comments, likes, and all these different strategies, including like your public relations and what's going on in the news, plus your organic, plus your any engagements you're going to. These all complement each other, and it's a compounding momentum. So you have to have all these channels really firing, or a couple of them at one time, because they all drive and retarget. There's something called targeting and retargeting. And retargeting means people are already aware of your brand, and then you're reaching them with a different sort of message that continues them thinking about Omnik, for example. And so they might see, many times it could take 7 views before someone actually comes to schedule a lead. So you're constantly learning and evolving your strategy as quickly as possible. And I mentioned earlier, a lot of the historical marketing could take 4 to 6 months for the planning cycle. Now, with this, you could get it down to almost immediate for the ideation standpoint. So, like plugging in the inputs, pulling in data, you could teach AI on the tone of the business, the brand guidelines, a lot of those variables, and then come up with a whole bunch of ideas in a almost immediate timeline, and then pick and choose what you like, and then you can iterate off of those with a human element at the end. But AI, so right now we look at a number of different ways for this, but 10% human input on the front. What are your goals, objectives, audiences, and more? AI can do a lot of the ideation in the scale component in the middle 80%. And the last 10% is human edit, review, approve. So from a risk standpoint, our platform enables compliance, legal, multiple users within a company, all to review the creative and advertising content before it goes live. Their team has to sign off on it before it goes live. So we have a human, the last 10% is human review, edit, approve. And that's the state of where the industry needs to be right now for a lot of this.
Mhm. Fantastic. I also know there are also popular intent kind of platform that they collect information and they calculate models. What are the best companies based on intent? Do you know something about it?
I do. So we do a lot in the analytics space, but we can do predictive analytics, and we do something called multimodal learning that pulls out across everything you're doing. What are those insights that are predicted to lead to higher sales or higher clicks?
Mhm.
And we use those as a variable in new generation of content.
Mhm. Okay, I would like to ask you a personal point of view.
Sure.
What is the major misconception in the AI and marketing area space that you kind of strongly disagree with?
Well, being on a risk management show here, there's two ways to look at this. One is you can be extremely risk adverse and not want to use AI. The other side is if you don't use it, your business will potentially go out of business. Actually, if you look historically, in 1970, the average lifetime of an S&P 500 company here in the US was 33 years. Today, it's 15 years. So the average lifetime of one of those companies being one of the top companies in the world has shortened in half. So what that says is the old ways of doing things will not work in the future. You have to move faster. Your competitors are going to be using these tools. The emerging companies are. So you have to be testing it internally. And for anyone that's completely risk adverse about AI, there's many ways you can test it outside of just using your own data for it. One is the future of enterprises. A lot of the stuff will be hosted at a data center, one of their own data centers, and there's lots of guardrails, and we're building a lot of guardrails. But the second thing is you could test these technologies, go test a lot of the ones being built on a theoretical business, right? So you could go plug in data that's not going to hurt your business and try to create something from scratch and see how quickly can I move in a theoretical or black box situation where you aren't putting yourself at risk. And this is the type of activity that every business has to be doing to figure out, how am I going to plug this into my workflow? How are we going to move faster? And the longer it takes for you to move, the bigger disadvantage you're going to be at in the next couple of years.
Mhm. So if we dig a little bit deeper, for example, if we take a life or, yeah, I don't know, average risk or compliance manager, if there is one thing that they should start to prioritize right now, of course, you said they have to think about AI, but maybe from your perspective as a business leader, and what they should start to prioritize that they're not doing right now.
Well, one is, how can we potentially segment off a little part of our business with data to go test these AI technologies instead of going all full in on an entire company, just go in at a very small scale with data that's very secure and a partner that has security protocols. So that would be my main thing, is figure out a small place to get started, but start as soon as you can this year.
All right. So thank you very much. I think if we summarize this interview, for someone who is listening and would like to walk away with one or two major takeaways, what would it be?
That this is going to be the fastest evolution of technology ever over the next 10 years. So start learning, because everyone's roles will not be eliminated, but they will completely evolve. And at the beginning of every year, you need to go back and look at what it took us to be successful last year will not be what's next year. So what do I need to do differently to skill up and bring new tools in-house to test and learn as fast as possible on this stuff?
Fantastic. So Matt, these were all my questions. Perhaps if I forgot to ask you something that you feel is important for our audience, please go ahead.
I think that's it. But if anyone's interested in learning more about what we do at Omnik, please feel free to reach out at omneky.com, OMNEKY.com. You can schedule a demo, or you can find me on LinkedIn at Matt Swalley or matt@omneky.com.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. And I wish you a great success personally and with your company. And I hope we can continue in the future our cooperation.
Thank you so much, Boris.
Absolutely.